welcome to the Irreverent Reader. I just wanted to tell you that on the video you're getting ready to watch, when I originally filmed it, my audio equipment cut out like halfway through. And so the audio on this video is not really that good. It's a pretty basic, like I had to use the audio from my main camera, and because my videos are generally very soft-spoken, it's difficult to manipulate some of the hissing and the background noise that comes in, and just sort of naturally when you record sound. So I had to extract the audio from the actual camcorder and try to manipulate it. It's not good, but I could have refilmed the entire thing, but I really wanted to keep everything that I said exactly the way that I said it, because as happens sometimes filming that day, I just happened to get into this flow of thinking about what I wanted to say, and it all sort of just came out of my mouth a bit impromptu. And when I went back and I was like, well, maybe I can try to capture what I said again, I went back and I listened and I was like, no, that's what I wanted to say, and that's how I wanted to say it. So watch the video. As you know, this is about meditation, so here is my low audio quality rant or rambling on what meditation does for me, and how I use it and different types and how you might use it. So I really hope that you enjoy it despite the bad sound quality. Hello, welcome to the Irreverent Reader. Tonight we are going to talk about meditation. My brain is like a coil that is twisted, just as tight as it can be twisted, or like a spring that is pushed together all the way, all the time. There's always a tension in my brain. Now I have generalized anxiety disorder, so that would explain it. But I think a lot of people are unaware of how tightly they walk around with their minds all day. I very much envy people who walk around with a calm, serene mind. That would be amazing. So meditation for me is like letting that coil unbind itself. It's like taking out your ponytail at the end of the day, or like taking off your bra. It's meditation is the only time that I feel that release in my brain. Even thinking it right this moment, I'm able to go, oh, and let that tension go. Now the moment that I come back to talking about what I want to talk about, the tension kind of comes back. Not as much as it was there before, though. So that's why I like meditation. Now, meditation is a big turnoff to a lot of people, and I get it. I understand. The first time that I ever even considered what meditation might be, I was probably 10 years old, and there was a character on Tiny Toons Adventures, which was a show in the mid-90s that came on after school in the United States. And there was a character kind of rudely named Shirley the Loon, like Looney, Shirley the Loon, McLoon, who was this sort of California valley girl who said things like, oh my God, and meditated all the time. And she read crystal balls, and she set up psychic booths at the university that they went to. And the very first time I ever remember meditating, I was sitting in my grandmother's living room, which is where I went every day after school. and I was watching this show, and Shirley the Loon is levitating and has her hands, like this on her knees, and she's saying, "Oh my God, oh, I am so psychic." It's so ridiculous and silly, but I was copying her. Now, my grandmother, who was a very religious woman, had a big problem with this. She flipped out on me because that was devil worship and witchcraft, and I was not allowed to watch that anymore. And I still got to watch the show. She never actually followed through with that, but I made sure to turn the volume down so that she wouldn't hear the meditation thing, and I definitely never mimicked her again. So, over the following years, I was always a very curious person when it came to mysticism and other metaphysical belief systems and practices and things. So when I was a teenager, after I was no longer going to my grandma's, I started to try to meditate. I didn't understand what I was trying to do even. I didn't even know why I was sitting there with my eyes closed, but I tried. And then once I became an adult, then I took workshops and went to classes of all kinds of different religious beliefs, and through those I found meditation practices. And the first ones that I really enjoyed were guided meditations, usually goddess-centric. There's the Descent of Inanna, and there have been a few others that have really been extraordinary experiences for me, where I find an ability to focus that I don't usually have. There is question. So anxiety can mimic the symptoms of ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And I have my entire life been somebody who talks way too much, who is a blurter. I am an interrupter, and I don't mean to interrupt people when I talk, but I do end up doing it all the time, and it's this compulsion that I have where it's like I just have to hold my mouth shut as much as I can, and I just have to say what I want to say, and I gotta say it, and I have to say it now, which is unfortunate and not couth and kind of rude, and I don't mean to do it, but it's just the way my brain works. So maybe I have ADHD, or maybe, I definitely have an anxiety disorder. I've been diagnosed with that. So maybe my anxiety just mimics ADHD. So I'm not very good at focus. I'm not very good at memory. But when I am meditating, there is a relief to all of that. I don't feel that compulsion to express the way that I do in pretty much every other moment of my life. And I feel the release of tension in my brain. I don't know how to explain it much more than that. I understand why a lot of people don't like the idea of meditation. When you first sit down, you hear a lot the words, the phrase, quiet the mind, sit down, clear your thoughts. That's so wrong. It's so wrong. One of the difficulties when you first sit down is the self-judgment. Anybody who first comes to meditation is going to be asking themselves or berating themselves even mentally, sitting there thinking, God, my legs hurt. How can people sit like this all the time? Oh man, my brain just won't stop thinking. Oh, I can't remember to do this, and I gotta forget to do this. Oh, listen to me. I just can't do this. I'm not good enough. That is how a lot of people feel when they start meditating. I felt that way when I started meditating, and I think that the most important lesson to learn as somebody who's new to meditation is to let go of judgment. You can't judge yourself for having a fast mind or a loud mind, or for the fact that, sitting in lotus position is uncomfortable. If you are not a yogi, like, lotus position is not required for meditation. It's just not. You can sit in a chair. You can relax. You can lay down in your bed. You can have a blanket over you. There is no physical position that is required for meditation. And I think that these concepts that we have of what it looks like to meditate is such a block for people who want to try meditation, because they don't think they're doing it the right way. Well, there really isn't a right way. And I think one of the best ways to get past that block, that self-judgment, is to find the right style of practice. There are many different types of meditation. The most buzzword meditation style right now is mindfulness. And I like mindfulness. It is not my favorite style of meditation, but it is my favorite style of meditation that has been written about. I've found, I don't know that I'll read that many more meditation books, but I found the most enjoyable books to read or listen to on meditation were on mindfulness. That could be because listening to John Kabat-Zinn talk is just relaxing and delightful, and an ASMR of its own. I'll link some interviews down below. He has done some amazing talks and guided meditations and things at different speaking events. He's a university, and he's really one of the people, or even the person, who we can thank. I don't know if we need to thank him. Blame? Maybe thank for the for westernizing, that's a gross word, for, making meditation palatable to those who are not interested in Buddhism. So he really focused on making it a very secular, almost clinical thing, because he was trying to study it. Now, he himself is a Buddhist. He himself, you can listen to so many interviews with him. There's particularly a good one with Ezra Klein on the Ezra Klein podcast that I enjoyed. So I'll link some information down below on John Kabat-Zinn in general. The other type of meditation that I think John Kabat-Zinn is good at speaking on is loving kindness. Now, loving kindness meditations are some of my favorite. This is where in meditation you cultivate within yourself a feeling of love and kindness, and you do so by focusing on yourself and on somebody you love and somebody you're acquainted with and somebody that you have conflict with. And with each of those people, you go through a series of kind of affirmations. That my favorite one, which also I'll link down below, this video is going to have a lot of links, is may you be well, may you be happy, may you be peaceful, may you be loved. And you focus on the feeling that these thoughts for yourself cultivate within you, and it really does cultivate a physical feeling of love and kindness and warmth and joy. And you work on holding on to that feeling and understanding what the physical reaction is, the mental reaction is, and if you have other beliefs, understanding things like chi and outward energy, inward energy. There's lots of opportunities here. then learning to carry that feeling with you into the world. And so it's a way to help you walk through the world caring about other people, caring about yourself, learning to care even about those people with whom you have conflict. So it's one of my favorite forms of meditation. Probably my absolute favorite form of meditation is guided affirmations. The one that I do the most regularly is on a channel which is related to another channel I've mentioned on here before. I know I've mentioned the Loon Innate. She's an ASM artist who does Reiki and things like that. She has another channel called just The Innate, which I'll link down below. And there's so many like meditation, electronic music tracks on this channel, and there's many different purposes behind each one. Some of them have affirmations, some of them are an hour long or more, some of them are 10 minutes long, and the one that I do the most frequently is the morning meditation. I will usually, I start my day first, because I don't wake up to an alarm like most people. I wake up to children. If you have small children, you generally don't need an alarm. They are an alarm enough. So my kids will get up, and we'll get up in the morning, and I'll get them breakfast. I'll have a cup of tea, and then I'll get them sort of tucked away for an activity that I can trust them with. Sometimes it's like, here, play your first 30 minutes of video games. Sometimes it's, here, watch this television show. Other times it's other activities. But once I get them tucked away, then I try to get upstairs. And in order to have a productive morning where I'm going to do the things, that I need to do, it helps for me to start with this meditation. I don't do it every day. Sometimes I don't have time. Sometimes I need something else. Sometimes I don't feel like having a productive day. Sometimes I'm cranky. And if I'm cranky, this isn't really the meditation for me, because it really cultivates a feeling of opportunity. So I've written down some of my favorite lines from this particular meditation that really hit home for me. So some of my favorite affirmations from this video are: every day is a chance to rewrite your story. I really like this because one of my anxieties is to ruminate on things I should have done or things I could have done, those sorts of things, to ruminate on missed opportunities. And this particular affirmation, every day is a chance to rewrite your story. If I'm doing this in the morning, which of course, this is literally titled Morning Affirmations on her channel. If I'm doing this in the morning, then it gives me a fresh outlook. It gives me permission to throw away those regrets, to push aside those should-haves. As one of my friends, my best friend says, is don't should all over yourself. And I just love that saying so much. The next one that I really like is: I take many little moments throughout the day to connect with my aligned state. I like this one because I am not good at this particular thing. I am not good at stopping if I'm in a bad place throughout my day and going, okay, is this where I want to be? And adjusting. I'm not very good at that. And if I take a moment in this affirmation in the morning before I start the productive portion of my day, it gives me an impetus. It gives me a starting point to try to remember to do it throughout the day. whether I'm having a good day or a bad day, either one, I like trying, at least. I'm not always able to, but sometimes I am. I love those times when I am in a moment that is not good, to stop and be able to go, okay, if I change my brain right now, if I take just 3 seconds to quickly meditate, I can realign myself and check in with where I want to be, to connect with my aligned state. And so I'll close my eyes and try to relax my shoulders and release my brow and breathe and think, what do I want to be? And try to let go of whatever it is that is causing me in this particular moment to not have a good day. The third, and this is the last one that I'll read from this particular meditation, the third affirmation that I really connect with is, in this moment, between each breath, I am connected to all that is. In this moment, between each breath, I am connected to all that is. It's a thought that requires a vast amount of contemplation. It requires you to contemplate your own being. It requires you to contemplate time as a concept, as a dimension even, that there is a moment between each breath that exists, right? And then it requires you to think about all that is, the universe, the multiverse if you want, and understand that you are the same in this moment between each breath, in this tiny elapse of time, that your being is just like all that is. That's a big thought to contemplate. So I really enjoy when it comes to that part of the affirmation, the meditation, to really try to wrap my brain around it, because I find that in that tension that's in my brain, understanding my own insignificance and yet universality helps to relieve the anxiety of should, of need, of want. Like, man, we are all here for a short period of time. There is no requirement. Like, treat people right. That's the requirement. Be here in the world. That's the requirement. And when I feel like my brain is in this super unproductive place, when I'm feeling all twisty, knotted, I like to take this particular meditation, again, down in the links, to reset, to let go, to adjust my perspective. And so that's my absolute favorite meditation. You might not jive with it. It might not be your cup of tea, and that's okay. A little bit of ASMR there for you. There are other forms of meditation, and you have to be patient. One that I didn't mention is Transcendental Meditation. That's probably the one that I'm the least familiar with. I've read a little bit about it. I've never been to a class on Transcendental Meditation. I've never really been interested in that particular brand of belief system. But there are a lot of people who find that to be the most accessible. For me, my meditation has almost always been seated in a new age, I don't like the term new age, but an esoteric sort of thought or social setting usually. I very much enjoy guided meditation with groups of women. I do miss, and maybe when social distancing isn't a thing anymore, I will be able to get back to workshops and groups coming together to contemplate their own being and reevaluate their own existence in the world. That's really my favorite form of meditation. I'll just say quickly that my favorite meditation that I ever wrote, because I've written a few guided meditations here and there, was at a women's festival years ago that was based on Discordian thought. So it was about realizing that this is all made up, that there are no actual rules, that the world is chaos, and we only see order in the world because we look at it through a particular frame, right? There's this frame here, and that's why you see the lights and the chair and the candle and the hourglass and things. You don't see the rest of my room. You don't know what's back there. You don't get to know either. But that doesn't mean it's not there. And that doesn't mean that this construct, because this is certainly a construct, that this construct is the only meaning in life, that this is the only way to look at the world. And I felt so much gratitude at being able to provide this mind loosening experience for this group of people, because I had many of the participants tell me afterwards that it was a profound experience for them, and that even just thinking about it right now, I'm getting a little bit of chills, and it was such a profound experience for me to provide them with an experience. So first, nobody starts off meditation having a profound experience. I mean, maybe somebody does, but nobody I've ever met has ever started out with a profound experience. You have to go through learning how to get your mind into the right space, and you have to go through figuring out how to allow your brain to make the noise that it's going to make, but without you having to pay attention to it, without you having to police it. Like, there comes a point when your mind begins to wander, because it will always begin to wander. There's never a graduation point where you're meditating and your mind doesn't at some point wander off and do other things. That's just reality. But there is a graduation point where your mind begins to wander off, and you, without berating yourself, without chiding yourself, and without much effort, are able to just come back and do the thing still. So once you get to that point, there can be some profound changes in you. And I know I sound like everybody else who's ever told you about meditation, but I'm not going to tell you to clear your mind. That's not a thing. And I'm not going to tell you that it will cure your anxiety. It won't. It'll help alleviate some of it. It'll make it more manageable. It's definitely a usable tool. But I think you you have to have patience. You have to be willing to figure out which one works for you. Try them all. Try each one more than once. So if you go to a meditation and you have a terrible experience, go to another one. You know, a sound bath can be real irritating, or it can be the most moving physical experience you've ever had. And I've been to both. I've been to sound baths that were pointless and kind of weird and awkward. I've been to sound baths where your physical being is completely affected and transformed, and you leave in awe of the experience of the human within the universe. So don't ever judge a particular type of meditation just based on one experience. Try to have multiple experiences. But after you've had a couple of experiences, if it's not for you, it's not for you, and that's fine. Feel free to tell people who, if you have anxiety or depression or any sort of mental illness and you struggle with it, and somebody attempts to say, well, have you tried meditation? Feel free to tell them that when you're in survival mode, when your mental illness is drowning you, meditation that's not the time to start meditation. The time to start meditation is when you feel kind of okay. Like, it's okay to try meditation when you're having some anxiety and some depression, but if your mental illness is just dragging you down, don't try meditation. Call for help. I will link down below suicide hotline and mental illness references and things like that, some tools down below, that if you are in the throes of mental illness, that's not the time to try meditation. That's the time to call and talk to somebody. Once you're a little bit better, or if you're just not that far into mental illness, when you're in the place where you can cultivate tools to help you, that's the time to try meditation. That's the time to start looking and considering. YouTube's full. There are so many links down below, I guarantee it. So follow them, give them a try. I hope this has been kind of relaxing and chill. But yeah, tell me in the comments what your favorite meditation is. Link videos in below. I'll watch them. And tell me what your experiences are. Tell me if you've had good experiences, if you've had bad experiences, if you're a seasoned meditator or you've never meditated in your life. Tell me about it. I want to hear from you guys so much. I love that this is a place we can come and discuss things, not just like me spewing out into the void. I love that sometimes you guys talk back to me. So tell me what you think of meditation. Give meditation a try. Try all different kinds, and don't put too much pressure on yourself. Especially in this time of social distancing, don't put so much pressure on yourself. It's okay to not be the most productive person. It's okay to not have things figured out. And it's okay to not be okay. That's the thing. So if you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you like listening to me ramble on about stuff quietly in ambiance and twinkly lights, then hit the subscribe button. And if you want to know when new videos are released, ding the bell. We all know the drill on YouTube. Thank you so much for being here, and